What if the person you underestimated held the key to turning your world upside down? Jeff Matthews was about to find out in the most unexpected way. At SpinTech, where executives vast in power and janitors were invisible, someone was quietly watching. And she wasn't who they thought. In a world dominated by egos, karma always knows when to strike. Grab a coffee, sit back, and dive into this tale. SpinTech was a leading tech firm in New York City. Deals were sealed in sleek glass offices with panoramic skyline views. Employees hustled through the halls, driven by purpose and ambition. But one particular day marked a quiet shift. A new face had joined the building. Her name was Emily Dawson. To everyone else, she was just the new cleaner dressed in a plain blue shirt, black slacks, and sneakers. She moved through the spaces unnoticed. Her hair was neatly tied back as she maneuvered her cleaning cart with quiet determination. What no one knew was that Emily wasn't just a cleaner. She was the true owner of SpinTech. Years ago, she had handed over the acting CEO role to her older brother, Paul Dawson, while she worked on other ventures. Now, she had returned in disguise to assess how things were running. And it didn't take long for her to notice the problem, particularly with Jeff Matthews, the current CEO. Jeff was tall, sharply dressed in custom suits, and carried himself with arrogance. To him, people like Emily didn't exist except to clean up after him. On her first day, as Emily swept the hallway outside his office, Jeff glanced at her with disdain. "Hey, new girl," he called out, pointing unnecessarily at a spotless patch on the floor. "You missed a spot." Emily smiled tightly, biting back her frustration, and resumed her work. But Jeff wasn't done. "You should be grateful to even have a job here," he added smugly. "People like you don't usually get this lucky." Emily's face remained neutral, but inside, anger brewed. This was her company, yet here she was, being spoken to like she didn't belong, but she wasn't ready to blow her cover yet. Over the following weeks, Emily saw more of what SpinTech had become. The employees themselves were hardworking and talented. The real problem was the leadership. Jeff Matthews sat at the center of it all, wielding his power irresponsibly. He treated junior staff like dirt, barking orders and offering no respect, and the rest of the leadership team wasn't much better. Miss Theobald, head of marketing, frequently belittled employees and acted as if they were lucky to share her air. Mr. Carter, the finance head, dipped into company funds for personal luxuries. But Jeff's behavior toward Emily was the worst of all. He loitered in hallways, making inappropriate comments. "You're too pretty to be a cleaner," he'd say with a smirk. "Play your cards right, and I might find you something better." Emily remained composed, refusing to engage. But Jeff grew bolder. One day, he cornered her in the break room. "You know," he began in a low voice, "if you were a bit more cooperative, your life could get a lot easier." His tone carried a thinly veiled threat. "Otherwise, don't be surprised if you're out by next week." Emily felt a surge of anger but stayed calm. Little did Jeff know, he was threatening his actual boss. That evening, Emily vented to Paul. "It's worse than I imagined," she admitted. "Jeff and his cronies are destroying SpinTech, but I need more time to sort out who's worth keeping." "Take all the time you need," Paul replied firmly. "When the time comes, they won't know what hit them." As Jeff's behavior escalated, Emily decided enough was enough. One evening, he cornered her in the parking lot. "Meet me in my office after hours tonight," he demanded, his voice laced with menace, "or I'll have you fired by tomorrow morning. No one else is going to hire someone like you." Emily's heart raced, but she stood her ground. She was done playing his game. The next day, Emily arrived at SpinTech in her true element. She wore a sleek white blazer, tailored pants, and heels. Her hair was styled elegantly, and her presence radiated authority. Paul had called for a full staff meeting, including the board and upper management. When Emily entered the conference room, Jeff looked puzzled at first, then amused. "Are you lost, sweetheart?" he sneered. "This is a board meeting." Emily ignored him, taking her place at the head of the table beside Paul. Clearing his throat, Paul addressed the room. "Before we begin, there's someone you all need to meet." Gesturing to Emily, he continued, "This is Emily Dawson, the true founder and owner of SpinTech. Silence fell over the room. Jeff's face turned ashen as the realization hit. Emily stepped forward. For the past few months, she began, her voice steady, I've been working undercover to observe how this company is being run. And what I've seen is deeply troubling. Jeff tried to stammer out an excuse. MS, Dawson, I didn't know. Exactly, Emily interrupted coldly. You had no idea who I was. But that doesn't excuse your actions. You've harassed employees, abused your authority, and undermined this company's values. Paul rose from his seat. Effective immediately, Jeff Matthews, you're fired. Legal action will follow. Security escorted a stunned Jeff out of the building as Emily addressed the remaining leadership. To those of you who've acted with integrity, you have nothing to fear. But to those who contributed to this toxic culture, your time here is over. As she called out names, fear rippled through the room. By the end of the day, only a select few remained. Emily turned to them, her tone resolute. Spin Tech is entering a new era, one built on respect, innovation, and integrity. Under Emily's leadership, Spin Tech thrived. Those who once dismissed the quiet cleaner now admired the visionary who had reclaimed her company. Justice had been served, and Spin Tech was stronger than ever. Thank you for sticking with us to the end. If you enjoyed this story, like, share, and subscribe for more powerful tales. Have a great day.